Good evening, everyone. This is Enugu here. Today, being the 6th of October, Sunday the 6th of October, 2019. Enugu here is once more with us, just to talk to us about the Enugu International Airport. Now, as I promised the viewers that I would endeavor every 2 weeks at least to have something, to update everyone who is interested to know what is happening at the Enugu International Airport will be updated. So 2 weeks ago, I made a video when I told us that the contract's been awarded, and that contract's been awarded to PW. PW, that's Public Works, was the same company that did the previous runway that failed. Now, we've given the same company that same job. Now, in that video, I clearly said that I believe that the last contract, or rather the last runway repair, was done under former Minister of Aviation, Chidoka. Now, Chidoka reached out to me saying that he wants to put the record straight. And he said that he wasn't the minister at the point that the last contract was awarded. Now, from my calculation, if we take away 6 years away from today, it's going to be about 2013. So, and it appears that Chidoka wasn't. Now, according to his information, he said, and I quote, "I did not award the contract for Enugu Runway to PW. It was awarded in 2009 and at the rate of 4 billion. And that airport was closed February 2010 and reopened in December 2010. Now, he continued and he said that the remodeling of the airport was completed by 2013. He became a minister July 2014. Obviously, I thanked him for the correction in the time lapse here. Now, he said that on December 30th, 2010, Minister of Aviation at that time was Babatunde Omo-Toba. That's, I think, I think it's Ebeniga, I'm not too sure. But he said that he was the one that flagged off the rehabilitation and the upgrade of Enugu International Airport, and that contract was awarded to PW. Okay, he agreed. We are fine there because according to my research, the contract was awarded to PW. Now, the cost of that project at that point, according to him, is 4.13 billion. And that was approved by Federal Executive Council, that is the FEC. However, that figure that he said wasn't what FEC approved. I'll come to that later. And Chidoka concluded by saying that the Akanibiam International Airport was closed on February 10th, 2010 and reopened again for the phase of major renovations and expansion work, and reopened in December 16, 2010. Now, based on the back and forth here, because Chidoka contacted me in 3 channels. He contacted me on Facebook, he contacted me on Twitter, and he contacted me on YouTube. What that means is, whatever we are doing in good faith. Now, there are people who are genuine. If an information doesn't suit them or appear to be inaccurate, they want to set the record straight, because no one knows where what we're doing today is going to end. Now, he's done that, and I've gone back and I've responded to him, because he actually, in a very matured manner, he started by saying, I watched your video on YouTube channel where you stated that contract for rehabilitation of Enugu Runway was awarded to PW and was awarded by me as Minister of Aviation. What I said was, I believe he was awarded under him. Okay, so whatever the case, that's semantic. Now, And I said, thank you, brother. He said, I commend you for your activism on the Enugu International Airport. Good work you're doing. However, I want to correct a minor error in your assertion on the contract award. Not my response to Chidoka was, I've basically gone back to those channels that he used in coming back to me, and I posted the same message. And I said to him, Chidoka, thank you very much for your kind words, because, anyone who is a politician who has served in high offices in Nigeria, they tend not to be cut short in any way, shape or form. But he was, and I gave that to him. I said, Chidoka, thank you very much for your kind words and the correction not taken on who was at the helm of affairs when the contract was awarded. Now, and according to fake records, because eventually I got into the Federal Executive Council, or rather the Minister of Finance, where they kept records of details. Then I got this document of one of their records where it says that contract was actually, it was a varied contract. It was initially 4.1 billion, but that contract was reversed, and eventually the contract was awarded at 10 billion naira. 10 billion, actually 10.3 billion naira. In 2010, on the October 20th, when the Federal Executive Council sat, that contract was varied, and that contract eventually became 10.3 billion. And that's how things work in Nigeria, where people will sit and, and they keep, varying contract, increasing it, and yet nothing is being done. Now, that is going to bring me to video of today. And today's video is nothing else, and I want to call it the politics of Enugu International Airport. The politics of Enugu International Airport and its runway. That is the title of this video. The reason why I want to call it that way is I want us to take a back seat, relax, listen to this. I want us to look at, since the time of Yaradua, because Yaradua was the one that approved Enugu to be an international airport. I want us to look at, from the time of Yaradua, what happened, who was in charge, to the point Jonathan took over, what happened, who was in charge, and to the point President Muhammadu Buhari took over. Now, if we bring this all together, it's going to give us a glimpse of what is happening. The more I research into this, the more I find out something a little bit intriguing happening, because we bandish figures here and there as to what is going to happen, or rather, what is happening with our airports, especially Enugu International Airport. How come this is the only airport where money has been given out, loans taken from China, and, we have their mates like Kaduna, Abuja, Port Harcourt, all done, with the exception of Enugu. What is behind that? Take your seat and let's roll. So, a brief background. As you all know, the late President Umaru Musa Yar'Adua won an election in 2007. When he won that election, he appointed his ministers, and he made Babatunde Omotoba the Minister of Aviation. And that was on the 17th December 2008. He left office in March 2010 when the acting president, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, dissolved Yar'Adua's cabinet. Now, who took over from Omotoba? Omotoba is not Igbo. He took, Fidelia Njeze took over in 2010. In my research, I found a very interesting article written by, one of our very own, Obinna Akukwe. And he titled that article, "The Enugu International Airport Scam another 419 on the Igbo nation. You know, the title slightly is a little bit, you know, it's for some people could be off, but it appears to be something that is very instructive. Obinna Akukwe. And, you know, he argued that the Enugu International Airport, also known as Akanibiam International Airport, was a 419 to the citizens of the Igbo citizens of Nigeria, because there is yet nothing international about that airport. And it is instructive to note, according to him, that Umaru Yar'Adua was the one who in 2008 approved the upgrade of that airport. In 2009, the Federal Executive Council under Yar'Adua's approved the sum of 4.13 billion. This is what Chidoka was alluding to, for works on the airport, which would include, remember, this includes the extension, asphalting, marking of the runway. The old runway, which was 2.4 meters long, was to be extended by 600, which made it to be 3,000 meters long, which is 3 kilometers in that sense, and equally extended by width. In December 2009, that airport was closed temporarily for works commenced. Those wishing to take those routes that time was diverted to Sam Mbakwe Airport, because that's not the first time that this has been happening. And, you know, within that period, that's again, Babatunde Omotoba was minister till, as I said before, Njeze took over. Therefore, the process of upgrading Enugu International Airport was kick-started by Yar'Adua, not by Goodluck Jonathan. That was in 2009. The Federal Executive Council meeting presided over by Jonathan. This is the document now I have. On the 19th of October 2010, reaffirmed the upgrade to an international facility and awarded the reviewed reversed contract, which I shared with Chidoka and corrected that figure. Now, the reaffirmation of that international status, Igbo traders started processing unbridled sycophancy by praising the regime to high heaven. And I think sometimes, you know, when we praise, when we do these things, you know, these are things that they ought to do. You elect them to do these things. But when we begin to praise some people to a point that it gets into their head, you know, because then we remembered the Deputy Senate President, everyone was praising Jonathan for what he has done, for all, you know, these things. But we have to bear in mind that Enugu International Airport was, all these things being done was under loan. We were taking loan. And after the election was won, Stella Odua was rewarded for a job well done, and she commenced the upgrade of facilities in all 22 airports in Nigeria. Now, take note here. This is not about Enugu. In all 22 airports, all 22 airports. Take note. Write this down. In the first phase, 11 airports, including the General Aviation Terminal, that is MMA International Terminal, Nnamdi Azikiwe International Abuja International Terminal, Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport Abuja Domestic, Kaduna Airport Terminal, Margaret Ekpo Airport Terminal, Calabar Benin Airport Terminal, Akanibiam Airport Terminal Enugu. Then we had equally the Sam Mbakwe Airport Terminal in Owerri, Port Harcourt International Airport, and the Yola International Airport Terminal, Yakubu Gowon Airport in Jos, where all these airports in the first phase, 11 of them were scheduled for upgrade. The managing director of the Federal Aviation Authority at that time, that is George Uriesi, even affirmed that the federal government had invested $850 million that in that time of, you know, in the exchange rate of that time, it was about 139 billion in airport infrastructure, which includes the remodeling of all the terminals, other safety equipments in, you know, and if the federal government invested 139 billion to upgrade 11 airports around Nigeria, Enugu got only 6 billion. Are you guys getting the gist here? 9 airports, 139 billion spent. Enugu got only 6 billion. Now, let this fact sink in. So, Obinna actually then argues that it is absolutely silly for Igbo leaders to basically start clapping that Enugu Airport has been marked for upgrade, or rather that Enugu Airport has been upgraded. And he questioned why you know, Arewa Consultative Forum, Middle Belt Forum, South People Assembly have not, you know, done similar thing where they go and say, thank you, Jonathan, for upgrading our airport. Now, President, if you remember again, President Jonathan had said that new international terminal for the Enugu, that's now the new international terminal, will cost 13 billion naira. Now, the question is, how many funds have been committed to the airport international, that international airport terminal? Is there any budgetary allocation for that terminal for the year 2015? You remember, then Obinna concluded that he considered, in his opinion, that this is totally fraud, 419. Under the former Vice President, what's it called? Sambo, you know, I think called Sambo, that the Turkish airline actually had a signed agreement. If you remember, there was a fanfare there and it was shown on TV. That was about 2014. The Turkish airline signed an agreement in principle with, you know, for their landing in Enugu. The airport is truly international airport. Then the likes of Virgin Atlantic Airways, Lufthansa, British Airways, KLM, blah, 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 should be landing there. Now, as at January 2015, no airline from Europe, aside Ethiopian Airline, and Middle East have landed or taken off from the Enugu International Airport. Why? It was because of night landing equipment. And how could someone have said that you upgraded an airport to an international standard and you haven't bothered to ensure that the basic thing that makes an airport international, aside the customs that are there to take money from travelers, is the night landing equipment. The airport lacked many safety landing facilities, including Doppler weather radar, used for real-time dictation and tracking of hazardous weather systems such as thunderstorm, wind shear, turbulence, dust, you know, dust storms. These equipment were recently installed at that time in Abuja, Port Harcourt, Maiduguri, Yola. Now, question is, why was that not installed in Enugu in 2015? Why? Why was that not installed in Enugu at that point, people? Can we begin to ask questions and suddenly we will begin to see the things happening to us? So everyone just mounts. I mean, yes, we have, you know, we have Runway. And, you know, the runway was expanded, you know, extended to 3 kilometers. And so what? The runway and aircraft hangars are always flooded. Have you guys not seen it? Enugu Airport, when it rains, the hangar is flooded whenever there is rainfall. And many times passengers have to remove their shoes. Imagine trying to climb into an aircraft. You're removing your shoes to walk on the tarmac in order for you to board your aircraft. This Enugu International Airport, again, is nothing but a fluke for the Igbo nation. When the emperors decided that actually to give us an airport, the volume of activities, flight, and passenger traffic will prove it. What have we? What do we have at the moment? We have nothing. Now, this is, you know, basically the historical perspective to this. As we speak today, I can tell us free of charge, the campaign that we have been doing, meaning that every single day we have to remind the Minister of Aviation that his job is yet to be done. The Minister of Aviation, suddenly everyone goes quiet. You know why everyone is quiet? I can tell us free of charge. When Abuja Runway was done 2 years ago, in 2017, that was done in 6 weeks minus 1 day. Do you know there was no budget for that? But they found money to do that. In 2017, the budget to do the Abuja International Airport runway, which was done in 6 weeks, was taken from the Ministry of Agriculture. Now, the question is, here we have the Igbo nation. Here we have the Southeast. Many have argued a people that have lost war do not think and cannot be given an airport. And I consider that to be absolutely nonsense and insult, because these are silly comments that fuels, bad blood. The question again remains, why can't we find money? As we speak today, the president went to South Africa within the week. Dave Umahi went with him. And I hope that he had the time when they were in private moments to speak to Buhari so that we find a way that we could get this money. The question that I ask is, if we cannot find money through any of the ministries, one by Onyama, Minister of Foreign Affairs, I do not know if they have enough money that they can get some money out. The question is, why can't the Southeastern governors bring the money together? Let it be something that they collectively put the money together, do this airport to the best standard ever, then put the bill back to the federal government to pay as at when they can reimburse them. Or, question again is, why is it that it is only when it comes to the Southeast that these things appear to be an impossible task? I started panicking and I started knowing that something is wrong when the Southeastern governors invited the Minister of Aviation, Hadi Sirika, saying, this airport is being closed. Now, we want to have a stakeholder meeting with you. And the minister, in front of all the governors, said to them that there is no fund, but he is going to encourage them to go to the executives in Abuja and seek for fund. If we are seeking for fund, as of today, the 6th of October 2019, there is no fund yet. What was the contract that was signed on the 13th of September? What was that contract? Why did we close an airport on the 24th of August? Why? They said it's about safety. That the safety is the reason why this airport was closed. The airport, yesterday being the 5th of yesterday being the 5th of October, made it exactly 6 weeks that airport has been closed. Yesterday being Saturday. That means from the 24th of August to the 5th of October, exactly 6 weeks. That is the length of time it took for Abuja International Airport runway, much bigger, much longer, to be fixed. But the Enugu International Airport, the only gateway to the southeastern Nigeria, the only gateway, international gateway to the southeastern Nigeria, has been locked. Now, there are school of thoughts. There are people who tell me, Mazi, listen, stop this what you're doing. You're wasting your time. It is better that the whole airport is shut so that everyone will use the road. I tend to equally see some sense in that, but I don't think that makes any sense, because why would it be? There is no road, if not even in Castina. Do not be deceived. Sorry, there is no road anywhere in Nigeria. The Benin-Ore road is still a death trap. The Makurdi-Enugu is still a death trap. So if all the roads in Nigeria are bad, if you Port Harcourt-Enugu, it's a death trap, yet Port Harcourt International is functioning. So if every other region that has international gateway into their region, still their roads are bad, why would we close the southeast? And some of us argue that it's better for us to keep it closed until we fix the roads. If we do that, that will mean catastrophe. And I can tell us free of charge, people, there is something that is going to happen. Take this to the bank. Write it down today, 6th October. Someone asked me when I said something in one of the forums, how come the southeastern governors, none of them have ever engaged any foreign airline to come into Enugu? I know in my capacity as the president of the Igbo Initiative, my organization, when there was when there were a fair disparity that it was higher to fly from Enugu, maybe to Guangzhou, to London, to America, than to fly from Kaduna, from Abuja, and from Lagos. We fought that head down. I had a meeting with Ethiopian Airlines in Enugu. We had series of meetings. We wrote their head office and they reviewed it. They made sure that to fly from Enugu, the prices are now the same from Enugu, from Abuja, and from Kaduna. Now, the question that people were asking me, Mazi, you're doing that in your capacity. Why is your governors and those representing you keeping quiet? And that is a place that a conclusion that I've come to a point to begin to agree. We appear not to have people who are representing us in all honesty. Because if not, it's something that should concern them. It's something that should concern all of us. There is something that is very likely to happen, and please take note. It is very, very likely that if Enugu is not reopened by Christmas, we may lose Ethiopian airline to Port Harcourt. Watch this space. There is the tendency that Wike, the governor of Rivers State, will fly to Ethiopia in the coming weeks. What is he going to do? He's going to negotiate. He's wooing Ethiopian Airline to come to Port Harcourt. And if they do, if they've been given warm reception, if they've been given everything, a better airport, a better facilities for them to operate, it appears, as I speak to us, by December, if this airport is not fixed, you will start seeing Ethiopian Airline asking their staffs to relocate to Port Harcourt. For now, they are shuttling, but it will come to a point. Now, the question is, many of you that think many of you that think that Enugu International Airport or that airport in its own is something for the elite, I think that is wrong, and that is wrong perception. You know why I say that is wrong? The airport serves the middle class, the elite, and the downtrodden. People that sell within the airport, if you, for instance, do you know that people, when they fly from Enugu, the Ethiopian airline leaves around 12 o'clock in the afternoon, between 12:30. Do you know that? What people do, they leave their various destinations, come to Oyemene, do their shoppings for the foodstuffs that they will use to fly abroad. They spend money in Enugu. People come into Enugu, stay 1 day, 2 days in order to fly. People coming to Enugu, they sleep a day or two before they continue. Those activities, the taxi drivers driving you, if you walk out of Enugu and your car you've used, to the airport, we have vulcanizers, we have mechanics along the road. It increases traffic and money exchange hands. Now, what is the fate of those individuals that have left the airport since the airport is closed? They cannot, most of the taxi drivers, they cannot operate in Port Harcourt because they are not domiciled and they're not registered in Port Harcourt. The only thing they might do is probably if someone wants to go that far without using the palliative measures, or rather the vehicles, being given by the state to take people to Enugu, you can take the taxis to Enugu. But the local economy, the argument is, that it is for the rich, and I disagree. The question is, why would you close hours when every other single region still have? You can fly into Kaduna today. Kaduna. You can fly into Abuja. That's north. You can fly into Lagos. That's southwest. You can fly into Port Harcourt. That's south-south. Now, it's only the southeast that you close an airport on the pretense that that airport has some technical, or rather, has some issues with the runway, and you close it down, and there is no timeline to, the one that breaks someone's heart is there is no timeline. Now, what can we do, people? We've been doing enough, and I thank some of you that have listened to the call the first time. Some of you have been tweeting, at least about 50 of you. I must commend you for joining me on Facebook, on Twitter, to ask these questions. We've been asking the minister these questions. In the last couple of days, last week, Senator Dina Melaye was elected within the Senate to be the chairman on aviation in the Senate. And I have written Dina Melaye. Sadly, the way Nigerian politicians work, Dina Melaye has read my WhatsApp message. He hasn't responded because I am asking him, what does he know about Enugu International Airport? What can he do, and how can we work together to ensure that Enugu International Airport is done on time and on budget? And I would use this medium as well to thank my good brother Nze Oyi of Oyi for a very wonderful poster that he does every single morning. It's not easy to find people who are so dedicated. He is, he heads the Igbo Renaissance Forum. Oyi, thumbs up for all the wonderful job you do. Believing that with this advocacy, keep asking the questions without relenting, that we're going to get somewhere. Okay, so these are the updates I have for us as of today, being the 6th of October. There is nothing happening at the Enugu International Airport. When I say nothing, there is absolutely nothing. How can that be? 6 weeks you closed an airport. Nothing is happening. If anybody tells you that anything is happening, tell that person that Maazị Ezeoke is saying there is nothing happening. That person is telling you lies. We have to keep pushing. Join me on this campaign, Maazị Ezeoke. Follow me on Twitter. All I ask of you, there is no one contributing any money. If you don't have Twitter account, it doesn't take you 2 minutes to create one. Just create your Twitter account. When every morning, when we tweet this tweet asking questions to Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria, that is FAN, and the Minister of Aviation, that's Hadi Surika, when we ask them these questions, all I need you to do is to retweet. Join and lend your voice. Retweet. In a sinner society, even if ours is not, but we must keep it civil. We must continue to ask the questions. And at the same time, we will, we put the Southeast elected leaders into, in CC. So we also want to say that eventually we believe that we will get answers, and answers we demand to get. Once more, people, this is Mazi Ezoke Tochukwu. Peace out.